Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome here as we get set for race number 11 of Division 1 Skittles Superspeedway Series. Getting closer and closer to determining who are going to be the 8 drivers that transfer into the chase for the championship here from Division 1. The 8 drivers that will transfer for the championship in Division 2 to make up our culminated 16 drivers in this season's chase for the championship. Now, last week at Talladega Superspeedway, we basically had our second confirmed driver here from Division 1 as Ryan Butcher picked up his second win of the season. So right now, he and Brady Burkhart would be tied for the number 1 seed. Question is, with only, basically including this race, 5 races remaining for Division 1 drivers, who are going to take that opportunity and get themselves a last-minute ticket into the chase for the championship. We're also going to have to keep an eye on a couple of drivers that are rather far down in the point standings that have a win. Make sure they keep themselves not only in the top 30 in points, but ahead of any drivers that potentially could win in the upcoming 5 weeks and snatch away one of those 8 playoff positions. One thing that we should also bear in mind here as well is we've had now 22 different drivers start on the pole this season. LaPlante in the Division 1 qualifying session yesterday became the 21st different driver, and in Division 2 we had another different pole sitter. We'll see them in tomorrow's race. But Austin LaPlante at the time became the 21st different driver to sit on the front row for a race, on the inside of the front row I should say, and he will start on the pole here today alongside of Andrew Miller in the 47. Miller starting in the highest position he has all season long as well. This is Toddring. 3 miles, 3 corners, and if you didn't tune into yesterday's qualifying sessions, you missed out because we saw drivers in single car speed almost exceed 270 miles per hour. Let's go down trackside and get the command.
Drivers, start your engines!
Now, I should put out a disclaimer. We saw drivers in the second round of the Division 1 qualifying session exceed 270 miles per hour, but that was when we were overcast. It's sunny today, so we may not see them hit that high, but I do think we're going to be over 260 miles per hour at least, especially with a 40-car field. Let's give you your point standings coming into this race. First, your chase points, and then your overall battle for the regular season points lead. Now, coming into this race, we have had 8 different race winners, but only 7 currently sit in chase spots. I'll tell you why in just a moment. Right now, Ryan Butcher and Brady Burkhart, they sit atop the point standings for the chase grid with 2 wins apiece. Then they're followed by Trent Dunham, Vance Caldwell, Jessica Shelton, Jose Millz, and Derek Hamill. Right now, would be in the 7th slot. Seth Cole is the 8th different winner, but he did not have a good run at Talladega last week. Dropped 7 spots to 31st in points. So being out of the top 30 in the standings, that win currently does not count for a spot in the chase for the championship. So right now, that 8th spot would currently be held by the driver highest in the points without a win. That would be 3rd in the standings, Ashlin Boyd. Quite interesting that I said it comes down to wins, wins, wins. We are 10 races, well now, if you include today's race, 11 races into the season, and we still have a driver in the point standings that doesn't have a win that currently holds one of the chase positions. Now, as far as the overall point standings go, Trent Dunham currently holds the points lead still. 12 points over last week's winner, Ryan Butcher. Ashlin Boyd, as we mentioned, 3rd in points, 22 points out, and then there's a tie for 4th between Cody Smart and Brady Burkhart. They are 23 points back. Preston Plourd currently in 6th. He starts 4th in today's race. Laurent Lemount is 7th. 8th is JT Bryant, 9th Patrick Zych, and Vance Caldwell completes the top 10. 40 points separate the top 10 in the standings coming into this race. Mention the fact that the race pace is going to be somewhere around 260 plus miles per hour, so one of the toughest spots on the racetrack here today, probably going to be what you see right there where the pace car is going. That is the access road to pit lane heading into the entrance of turn number 3. It's going to be very difficult for these drivers if we do end up having green flag pit stops to get woed down from 260 miles per hour down to the pit road speed, which is 55. We'll have to see if that is going to be an issue for these drivers today, or will they be able to manage it? Question is, will we even have green flag pit stops? Fuel window is somewhere around the halfway point. About lap 13 to lap 16 is how far they can go on 1 tank of fuel. We'll see if that's going to be the case here today. Another thing we haven't seen all weekend, can these drivers go 3 wide? They've been double wide for most of the qualifying sessions. Can they go 3x3? We'll have to wait and see. Gonna have a lot of questions answered as the green flag for the first time ever is out here at Toddring. Let's roll! And for those that didn't tune in to yesterday's qualifying sessions and don't know, we were originally supposed to this weekend be at Proving Grounds, but the INI only holds 39 cars on track, and I wasn't going to have one driver from each division missed out on the race just because there was that kind of a hiccup in the glitch, or not a glitch, but a little hiccup in the INI. So for that reason, we are here at Toddring, as Joshua Lee immediately goes to the race lead there, number 5. Now Eli Bright going to challenge for the spot, or is he? He might get split 3 wide. Nope, I thought Ashlin Boyd might make a move. Not going to do it. Question is, who's going to lead lap 1? Pole sitter LaPlante, kick to the high side. He's fading back. Looks like it will be the Dodge of Eli Bright who will lead the first lap of the race here. As I said, this is the first time that I'm seeing these drivers in an offline race take to Toddring Superspeedway. A lot of unknowns for me as well. Only experience I have with Toddring was a few weeks ago. I ran this in an online race hosted by Levi McIntyre. Ended up winning that race as well. So obviously this track has a little bit of a special place in my heart. But when I realized we couldn't go to Proving Grounds, I thought, well, let's give Toddring a chance. And so far, really good racing through the pack. And our question of can they go 3 wide, several rows deep? Well, take a look here and tell me for yourself. Do you think they can do it? Yeah, they definitely can. They're about 5-6 rows deep of 3 wide racing here in the middle of the pack. Looking at JT Bryant there, 8th in the point standings coming into this race, and he is currently in a hornet's nest. Up towards the front, though, the top 3 have gotten themselves single file. Bright, Ciculli, and Zachary Taylor. Now Jose Millz moves into the 4th position with JJ Roberts in tow. Jose Millz coming into this race 15th in the points, our winner from Coca-Cola. Trying to get his 2nd win of the season. Another former winner not too far back, our winner from Dragonette, Jessica Shelton. She's currently scored in the 7th position currently. I mean, at this point, out of both divisions, the only 2 drivers that we know for absolute certain are going to be battling in the chase for the championship because they have 2 wins are Brady Burkhart and Ryan Butcher. Now, we obviously could look and say, you know, there's some other drivers that more than likely are going to be battling in the chase for the championship, but we can't confirm it yet. I mean, I would definitely say that Trent Dunham, currently leading the points with a win, I think he's definitely going to have a shot of getting in. I think Shelton's going to get in. I think Jose Millz has a chance to get in. I think Vance Caldwell has a chance to get in. And you look over in Division 1, you know, you've got some drivers there that have wins that are up there at the top of the point standings as well, like Fury Gamington and Jeff Scott, Eric Sadler, Charles Sanford, John Andrews. But, I mean, in terms of still with what we have left, the number of races we have left, 5 including today's, there's still a chance for drivers to be able to snatch away one of those spots as far as the chase positions go. I mean, we look here at Eli Bright currently leading this race. Now, yes, he does come into this race 25th in the point standings, but he is only 4 points behind Derek Hamill in the standings. So if he wins and passes Derek Hamill in the overall point standings, he could jump up into the number 7 seed. So one thing about this kind of chase system that we have, it is so important to get wins, and when you get those wins, it's so easy to shake up the point standings as well. Shelton there in 3rd, her teammate Kyle Mathews making his way towards the front. He's making a pass on James Qualls for 5th. Qualls, former pole sitter this season from Pigs Creek. There's Kyle Mathews. Mathews has been putting together some really good finishes as of late. Doing really well in qualifying as well. Comes into this race in that critical 30th position in points. So if he were to win, then he would head into next week's race in a playoff position. Following right now in the tire tracks of Zachary Taylor, who's making the pass for 3rd on Jessica Shelton. Meanwhile, up front, Eli Bright's got a rear deck lid full of JJ Roberts. JJ Roberts, 19th in the points coming into this race. I mean, basically, put it this way, anybody that is around or ahead of Derek Hamill in the points, if they win, they'd be in a playoff position. Of course, we're going to also have to keep tabs on Seth Cole, who came into this race outside of the top 30 in the point standing, see if he'll be able to get a good enough finish to move back into the top 30. He, right now, well, actually, I'm looking at the point standings. He's actually 30th if you technically look at it. He's tied with Kyle Mathews for 30th place. In the point standings, it's got him listed 31st, but both drivers are 98 points back of the points lead. So technically, Seth Cole is in the top 30 in the point standings. But right now, with Kyle Mathews running in 3rd and Seth Cole outside of the top 10, Kyle Mathews would be currently the driver that would hold 30th position in the point standings due to the live points. Seth Cole would, right now, I believe, due to live points, be outside of the top 30 in the point standings. And Kyle Mathews is going to go for second place now off of J.J. Roberts. Eli Bright's the lone Dodge in this division. However, several Dodges have been able to go to victory lane in Division 2, where pretty much all the other Dodges are. Jeff Scott, Fury Gamington, Eric Sadler, they've all gone to victory lane. Eli Bright, very outnumbered here, would love to be able to become the 4th Dodge to go to victory lane this season and be the lone manufacturer to get it done against all the other manufacturers in a division where there's nobody else, no other manufacturer teammates for him. But he's going to have to try and hold off Kyle Mathews, which might be a very tough task. Kyle Mathews has been on a tear here. He's moved up from 5th now to the race lead in a matter of about 3 or 4 laps. So Kyle Mathews got a very fast car underneath him here today. Kyle Mathews started this race back in the 22nd position, and he's managed in the first 10 laps to work his way to the front. So a nice job by the driver of the Melly Yellow Chevy Camaro. Just because Shelton's already won for Retro Racing Enterprises back at Dragonette, Kyle Mathews trying to become the 2nd. Or, I'm sorry, no, actually, he's trying to become the 3rd because Charles Samper actually has a win over in Division 2. So he's trying to complete the sweep for the team, actually. Eli Bright, though, he may have lost the lead, but he has not lost Kyle Mathews. He is still there with him, and those two have actually broken away from 3rd place. Right now in the possession of Jack Mitchell with Joshua Ciculli and Laurent Lemount there in 5th. Shane Lake's in 6th, and look who's moved up to 7th. Benjamin Miles. Now, why am I saying that with such surprise? Well, we're a third of the way through this race. Benjamin Miles started from 39th. That is the inside of the final row in the starting grid, and he's managed to make his way now up into the top 10. So nice job of cutting his way through traffic for the yellow and black Hertz car. Not the black and yellow that Riley Spurlytube drives. The only way you're able to tell the two of them apart. Someone back there has lost the draft in this pack. Can't tell. That's Vance Caldwell. Caldwell, who comes into this race 10th in the point standings, former winner this season. Don't see any damage on his car. Or does he have a buckle on the hood? I can't tell if that's just the lighting or not. But Vance Caldwell running about 256 by himself. Leaders are going about 266, so he's about 10 miles off the pace out of the draft. So I don't think he's off the pace in terms of overall speed. I think he just lost the draft. And yeah, he's losing the draft big time now. The gap's gotten even bigger between himself and the tail end of this lead group. So not good for Vance Caldwell. He does have that win in the bank, but he also did not have a good run last week at Talladega. So been on a bit of a decline right now, it seems. Meanwhile, up front, Shane Lake has moved to the 4th position, getting around Jack Mitchell. So don't count him out. Shane Lake had a great run last week at Talladega, jumped up 5 spots in the standings, up to 20th. Nearing the point where we're going to start to see drivers make some green flag pit stops here. Fuel window, I believe, is open. To see anybody dive to pit road this lap, and at least not anybody from the lead pack. Roughly lap 13 to lap 16. That's about as far as they were able to go if we stayed green, which we have done so far. So now we're into the fuel window. When do drivers decide to pit? They're going to split it right down the middle, maybe come down pit road on the next lap, lap 15. Giving them 15 laps to the checkers. You have to wait and see. 36 of Laurent Lemount moving low there. I wonder if maybe he's indicating he's coming to pit road this lap. We'll wait and see. We'll focus on him just for the moment, just in case that was indeed what he was doing. Let's see if he peels to the inside here as they'll head towards turn 3. Nope, doesn't look like it. Nobody up here at the front anyway. Is Shane Lake now going to go for 3rd on Joshua Ciculli. Ciculli's been up front for most of this race, at least up in the top 5. That's a driver that really could use a good run here today, as he finds himself currently 38th in the point standings, though he did have a good run last week at Talladega, which moved him out of dead last in points. Now James Qualls comes into this race dead last in the standings. Saw him up at the front not too long ago, but he's now faded back outside of the top 10. See if anybody's going to pit this time, and nope, nobody up at the front. Eli Bright seems to be very content right now, riding behind Kyle Mathews, and to his credit, as I said, he stays locked to the back bumper of Kyle Mathews' car, so it's not like Kyle Mathews passed him and drove away. Ciculli had to get out of the throttle there as he almost ran into the back of Eli Bright, and that's going to really drop him back and kind of hold up fourth on back as well. That's allowed Kyle Mathews and Eli Bright to check out for the moment. Not sure why he lifted that much, but now it's caused a big stack up there, 3 wide, and up, here we go. Kyle Mathews headed for pit road. Eli Bright's going to follow him. Whoa, Ciculli! A couple of other cars go way wide. Shelton was one. I think Millz was another. Caution's out. Think we had a wreck. Had some other drivers pit. Oh, William Duncan, Jay Jefferson, Derek Hamill. Our winner from Pepsi. And speaking of Pepsi, the Pepsi Chevrolet of Preston Plourd. We had a number of cars go way wide there on pit road, and that was kind of what I was wondering about. Now, there were some drivers that hit pit road a lap earlier. As there is Shelton, there is Millz. There were a couple of cars I saw get out of shape. There's Ciculli as well. But there's Trent Dunham, Jonny Gardner, I think Austin LaPlante, the Pulsar. I think they all came to pit road before that caution came out. I think they might cycle around at the front of the field. Ashlin Boyd there in the 54 might have also pit, so he might actually be the race leader when we go back green. And now Ciculli's going to head to pit road, as will Shelton, Millz, Rogers. I think all those guys might have missed pit road, but you can see right there, see the skid marks? There was definitely some issues for drivers trying to get to pit road. And we've got a number of drivers that are damaged now as a result, so I don't know who's going to be the leader when we go back green. Whoever it will be, we will find out in just a moment. Let's take a look and see what brought out the caution. Pit road did indeed prove to be the bane of these drivers here today at Toddring. I'm not 100% certain if this is what brought out the caution or not, but as drivers were trying to make their way down to the inside, Jay Jefferson goes around off the nose of Roger Ray, and look at the hit he takes right there. Ooh, that is not a safer barrier down there. That's actually a stone wall that he hit. And I'm wondering if maybe he comes back up the track into somebody, because that car still had a lot of momentum. And oh no, right up in front of William Duncan. Kind of hard to see here behind this. Oh wow, look at the 32 got some air. Holy cow. Derek Hamill, all 4 tires left the ground. And he's went straight up into the wall as well. 24 of Preston Plourd. Okay, there he is, so I guess he got a piece of it. Let's get another angle of that, because that was absolutely insane. What happened to the 32? See if we can get a better angle here. Okay, this might give us a much better angle. I mean, still at over 100 miles per hour, the 28 is, and he's out of control. And then here he comes. There's into Duncan. Right there into Hamill. There's where he gets Preston. And look at that. Look at the 32. Wow. And then watch him as his car is going to just shoot up the track at over 120 miles per hour still. No speed scrubbed off that car, even despite the high banking and hard impact nose first into the outside wall. Boy, that's the one problem with the high speeds at super speedways. The wrecks and the hits are much more violent as well. So about 4 drivers involved in that, and that was actually what brought out the caution. I'm not certain if it was when the 28 spun or when he came back into the pack, but that's what brought the caution flag out. So now let's find out who is going to be the race leader as we get ready to go back green. Very scary wreck here during the cycle of green flag pit stops. Well, after the cycle of pit stops, it's going to be Shane Lake who's going to be restarting as the leader. He will have the lap machine, well, not even really a lap machine. He's on the tail end of the lead lap, Vance Caldwell, who did make a pit stop, came out ahead of the leaders, but he did not come out ahead of the pace car. So he is currently trapped on the tail end of the lead lap just ahead of the race leader, Shane Lake. Lake will restart ahead of Kyle Mathews, Eli Bright, Zachary Taylor, Laurent Lemount. That's your top 5. Then it's J.J. Roberts, Jack Mitchell, Roger Ray, Philip Goldberg, and Matt Haas. That's going to be your top 10. Drivers out of the race after the incident that we saw. Basically the 4 drivers that got pieces of the wreck. Derek Hamill, Preston Plourd, Jay Jefferson, and William Duncan. Now, one driver that we have to kind of single out here in terms of this being significant, and that is Derek Hamill. Why? Because coming into this race, he was only 15 points ahead of the 30th in the standings cut line. This DNF might put him in a little bit of a sticky situation heading into next week if other drivers that are around him in the point standings have a decent finish. So we'll keep tabs on that. Let's go down a little bit further in terms of the current running order. Go down through your top 20 at least, as it'll be Cody Smart in 11th, Andrew Miller in 12th, Patrick Zych in 13th, JT Bryant 14th, Brady Burkhart 15th, Carter Friesen in 16th, 17th, Ashlin Boyd. Seth Cole is trying to move back into the top 30 in points. He's 18th. 19th place is Jonathan Zoerlein, and then 20th is Zack Winkle. Rest of your top 30, Diego Yepez, Sebastian Cucalon, Jonny Gardner, James Qualls, Trent Dunham 25th. Then it's Jose Millz, Riley Spurlytube, Joshua Lee, Ryan Butcher, and Austin LaPlante back in 30th. The rest of the cars running and on the lead lap: Tristan Fowlkes, Benjamin Miles, Joshua Ciculli, Jake Rogers, Jessica Shelton, and then right now, tail end of the lead lap, starting ahead of the leaders, is Vance Caldwell. Getting ready to go back green flag racing here with 10 laps to go. The 55 of Shane Lake is the race leader as we are back underway. I do want to make note that the reason that drivers such as Shelton and Miles and Rogers and Ciculli are starting at the rear of the field, they had to spend a little bit of extra time on pit road. We saw them all swing wide of pit lane when that caution came out. Well, when they came from the apron back to the transition of the track, it completely pushed in the left side skirts. So they had to kind of do some repair damage on all 4 of those race cars. We'll have to wait and see if those cars are still up to speed or not. At the moment, it looks like they're still with the lead draft as they are at the tail end of the field. Vance Caldwell, we saw, got put a lap down as both Shane Lake and Kyle Mathews passed him, and now he's stuck on the outside line 3 wide. Almost looks like he might be a little bit off the pace. I thought that he would still be up to speed because I didn't really see any visible damage, but I guess that car might be a little bit off the pace as drivers seem to be making their way around him quite easily. So now Shane Lake, for the first time in green flag competition today, is out in front. Kyle Mathews, who spent a good portion of the race out in front before the caution came out, now rides in second. The other car that spent a good portion of the race out in front early, Eli Bright, has been kicked to the high side. He's starting to free fall a little bit. But as he's falling back, got a couple of drivers that are moving up. Philip Goldberg there in the 18, now battling for 4th. And how about Roger Ray there in the 68? He's starting to make his presence felt towards the front of the field as well, as we've got a battle for 2nd. Laurent Lemount to the inside of Kyle Mathews. Lemount has obviously been very well known for his qualifying skills, but it doesn't seem to always transition over to good runs in the race. He is 7th in the point stands, but still looking for his first win. He's going to go for the top position here on Shane Lake, and he might clear him off this corner. Not quite, maybe down to 3. Well, then he's going to have to worry about Jack Mitchell, who's got a big run. Here comes the 9. He's going to take the top spot with help from Roger Ray. Now Eli Bright's found his way back down to the bottom. We know he's got a strong race car. He's been running 1st or 2nd in the first half of this race. Now he's going to help push the Delphi Chevy of Roger Ray to the front. Look who else is there. You've got Andrew Miller start outside the front row. 2-time winner Brady Burkhart right there as well. And Ashlin Boyd, who came into this race in one of the playoff positions via points, wants to be in one of the playoff positions via a win though. Ray going to try and do a lot of blocking. There's still a long ways to go here in this race too. 3-mile length racetrack and still over 5 laps remaining. So there's still a lot of opportunity for someone to make a move. Andrew Miller with some help from Brady Burkhart. He's trying to close up the gap back up to Roger Ray. Brady Burkhart, though, is going to go to the inside. Brady Burkhart now having to share the number 1 seed with Ryan Butcher after Butcher's 2nd win of the season last week at Talladega. He doesn't want to share with anybody. He wants the number 1 seed, so now he's looking for win number 3. Side by side with Andrew Miller, that Detroit Become Human Chevrolet Camaro. Guy that's got to be loving this right now, the guy out in front, Roger Ray, because the more that they battle for second, the less he has to worry about protecting his race lead. By the way, I looked back and I saw that some of those drivers that we talked about that had the damage from shooting wide on the entrance pit road looks like they are starting to slowly lose the draft now. Shelton and Ciculli, Benjamin Miles, and Jake Rogers. So they will probably be a non-factor in the finish of this race. Meanwhile, back behind him, it's a three-wide Toyota Camry formation. Friesen on the bottom. Goldberg in the middle. Burkhart up top as Friesen looks for the runner-up position. Help from Zack Winkle in the Ford, the Chevy of Jonathan Zoerlein. Also lined up on an inside line, Sebastian Cucalon, JT Bryant, hoping that that inside line moves towards the front. Friesen closing in on Roger Ray. These guys are teammates in most online races that I run. Now they're battling each other for their first wins of the season. Roger Ray comes into this race currently in the 32nd position. Carter Friesen 26th. Both really looking to put together a much better second half of the regular season than they have had in the first half. Friesen's going to go to the front with help from Zack Winkle. Winkle's going to slot into the second position ahead of Roger Ray. Ray into third, going to block and keep that spot as Sebastian Cucalon took a peek for the position. Jonathan Zoerlein right there in the 48. Zoerlein 37th in points. A lot of drivers near the back of the point stands that are up here towards the front. We mentioned Friesen 26th, Ray 32nd, Winkle 33rd, Zoerlein 37th. Sebastian Cucalon was actually the points leader in the regular standings for a while. He's dropped down to 11th, so he's trying to get it turned around again. As Friesen now has about 3 car lengths in hand back to Zack Winkle. That's normally not a good thing at a super speedway. Look at them darting around there. Ashlin Boyd just crossed 3 lanes from the high line to the low line. Now Cucalon side by side with Winkle. He'll move into second. Zoerlein follows him into third. Bryant now looking for fourth with Ashlin Boyd offering drafting help on the inside line. 2 laps to go here at Toddring. Cucalon closes the gap up to a car length and a half between himself and Carter Friesen. Friesen's got to hope and pray for one of 2 things. Either they get anxious to battle for second, or he's able to throw some really, really good blocks here in the final 1.5 laps. Now the gap increased a little bit between himself and Cucalon. Zoerlein might have actually pulled Cucalon back to him. They're going to go side by side for second here into turn 3. No, they're not. Zoerlein could not make the move. Cucalon holds on to the spot, now closes in. Once again on Carter Friesen, who will see the white flag. This time, Cucalon peeks to the inside. Can he get to the left rear quarter panel into 1? Yes, he can. Cucalon alongside for the top spot. He'll take it coming out of turn number 1. Ooh, Carter Friesen throws the block on Zoerlein. Zoerlein wanted to go to the inside. Friesen says, nope, I want a shot back at Cucalon. But can he get to him in time is the question. 2 car lengths in hand, Cucalon over Friesen. They'll head down here towards turn 3. Friesen's not close enough to make a move. He'll have to try something out of turn 3 if he can get close enough, but he still has about 2.5 car length separation. It's going to be Sebastian Cucalon out of turn 3 for the final time. He'll get his first win of the season as he takes the checkered flag here today at Toddring. Sebastian Cucalon, the former Coors Light Truck Series champion and former points leader in the overall standings a few weeks ago, dropped to 11th in points, but this will be a shot in the arm for that team as he will pick up the victory here today and more than likely at this point put himself square into the competition for a spot in this season's chase for the championship. Made the move when he had to. Carter Friesen could not block him into turn 1. And then kept his foot in the throttle and was not given a challenge in the final lap. Sebastian Cucalon will be bringing it home with a 1 in the win column. Look at the race pace. Even though we had that 1 caution, the race pace was 198 miles per hour here today. That's normally what you get for about a green flag, green to checker at Talladega with no cautions. And we had a caution in between the first 15 laps of this race in the last 15 laps, and I guess Lard Lad Donuts is getting some good TV time here, as they were just in front of Cucalon's pit stall. But Sebastian Cucalon will take the win. Carter Friesen will finish second. Zoerlein will bring it home third. Bryant in fourth, so Bryant will remain in the top 10 in points. He was eighth in the standings coming into this race, and he might jump up somewhere inside the top 5. Matt Haas, we never talked about the 8 car today. Great run for him in 5th. Ashlin Boyd there in 6th. Philip Goldberg 7th. A lot of Toyotas finished up in the top 10 today with Friesen, Haas, Boyd, Goldberg. Then you got Zack Winkle in 8th, Jack Mitchell 9th, and Roger Ray is going to complete the top 10. How about Austin LaPlante? LaPlante started on the pole, kind of faded back. He started back, I think it was outside of the top 30 when we went back green, and he fought his way back up to finish in 11th. Brady Burkhart 12th. Shane Lake, who led us to the green for our last restart, 13th. Tristan Fowlkes 14th, and 15th was Diego Yepez. Rest of your top 20 were J.J. Roberts, Laurent Lemount, Ryan Butcher, last week's winner. The guy who came in the points leader today, Trent Dunham, 19th, and 20th was Patrick Zych. As we look on down further through the rest of the finishing results, Seth Cole brings it home in the 26th position, and he actually did finish behind Kyle Mathews, who finished in 22nd. So I don't know if Seth Cole is inside the top 30 in the points or not. We're going to have to wait and see. And, of course, another driver, too, that we're going to have to wait and see if he's inside the top 30 in the points when we leave here today is Derek Hamill, who finished out of the race along with Preston Plourd, Jay Jefferson, and William Duncan after that wreck that took place when drivers were trying to make their way onto the access road in Turn 3 for the cycle of green flag pit stops. So it could be very, very interesting in what the playoff grid looks like, at least for here for Division 1, heading into next week's race. But that is going to do it here today from Toddring Super Speedway, as we have another different race winner. He is our 9th different winner of the season, and he is Sebastian Cucalon. Hope you guys enjoyed this race. If you did, be sure to give us a video, like, subscribe to become part of the crew today. We have shown you your full finish results. These are your overall point standings heading into next week, which is going to be from Bermuda Super Speedway, so you'll want to tune in for that. You also want to tune in tomorrow night, because if you enjoyed this race, we got another one for you. Division 1 drivers have finished up their race here from Toddring. Division 2 drivers, they're on tap for tomorrow night's race, their 11th race of the season. Until then, I've been Seth Cole, and you've been watching Production NNSCRA Offline Racing at its best.